There is a huge quantity and variety of marine materials. The hull structural steel, special performance steel, cast iron, non-ferrous metals, etc. commonly used in ship construction engineering. We will learn the hull steel in this lesson. First, let's understand the classification of steel with the development of science, technology and industry. Higher requirements are put forward for materials, such as higher strength, higher high temperature resistance, low temperature resistance, corrosion resistance, wear resistance and other special physical and chemical properties requirements. According to the chemical composition of steel, steel is divided into unalloyed steel, low-alloyed steel and alloyed steel. Non-alloy steel is an iron-carbon alloy with iron and carbon as the basic elements, and the mass fraction of carbon is less than 2.11%. Commonly known as carbon steel, referred to as carbon steel. Low-alloy steel is a small amount of alloying elements added to the non-alloy steel to improve the performance of the steel. The carbon content is less than 3.5%, and the added elements are called alloying elements. Alloy steel is a steel specially added with a certain amount of alloying elements in order to improve some properties of the steel. Commonly used alloying elements are silicon, manganese, chromium, nickel and so on. According to the mass fraction of carbon in steel, steel can be divided into low-carbon steel, carbon content is less than 0.25%. Medium carbon steel, carbon content 0.25% to 0.60%, and high carbon steel, carbon content is greater than 0.6%. 06 According to the smelting quality of steel, steel can be divided into ordinary quality grade, WS is less than or equals 0.050% and WP is less than or equals 0.045%. High quality grade, the mass fraction of sulfur and phosphorus should be WS is less than or equals 0.035%. WP is less than or equals 0.035%. And special quality grade, the mass fraction of sulfur and phosphorus should be WS is less than or equals 0.025%. WP is less than or equals 0.025%. According to the use of steel, steel is divided into structural steel, tool steel and special performance steel. Structural steel is used to manufacture various mechanical parts and engineering components, generally medium and low carbon steel. Tool steel is used to manufacture various tools, such as squares, compasses, etc., generally high carbon steel. Special performance steel includes stainless steel, corrosion-resistant steel, low-temperature steel, etc. Steel grades are referred to as steel grades. Chinese steel grades are represented by a combination of Chinese pinyin letters, chemical element symbols and Arabic numerals. The chemical elements in the steel grade are represented by international chemical symbols. The product name, application, smelting and pouring method, etc. are generally represented by the abbreviations of Chinese pinyin.
The content of the main chemical elements in the steel is represented by Arabic numerals.
This is the representation method of ordinary carbon structural steel. Q represents the yield point of the steel, and the following number represents the yield point value in MPa. If necessary, symbols indicating quality grade and deoxidation method can be marked after the steel number. The quality grade symbols are A, B, C, D, respectively. Grade A represents the highest content of sulfur and phosphorus and a low quality grade. This is the symbol of deoxidation method. F stands for boiling steel. B stands for semi-killed steel. Z stands for killed steel. TZ stands for special killed steel. For example, Q235A/F, which means a grade boiling steel with a yield point of 235 megapascals. Special purpose carbon steel, for example, bridge steel, marine steel, etc., basically use the representation method of carbon structural steel. But at the end of the steel number, a letter indicating the purpose will be added. The grade of high-quality carbon structural steel is represented by 2 digits, which is the 10,000th of the average carbon content in the steel. For example, No. 20 steel represents high-quality carbon steel with an average carbon content equals 0.20%. 08 steel means the average Wc% equals 0.08% in steel. Carbon tool steel. Mostly used in the manufacture of hand tools, machine knives, molds, etc. Number 8 steel is prefixed with T to avoid mixing with other steels. The number in the steel number indicates the carbon content in parts per thousand of the average carbon content. For example, T8 means an average carbon content of 0.8%. Those with higher manganese content are marked with Mn manganese at the end of the steel grade, such as T8Mn. The phosphorus and sulfur content of high-quality carbon tool steel is lower than that of general high-quality carbon tool steel. The letter A is added at the end of the steel number to show the difference, such as T8MnA. Carbon cast steel, in actual production. Some large parts with complex shapes and high comprehensive mechanical properties are difficult to be formed by forging and rolling, and are usually made of cast steel. Such as the stern post, rudder stock, rudder pin, anchor chain wheel on the ship, etc. The grade of carbon cast steel is represented by the Chinese pinyin prefix Zg of cast steel. And the latter two groups of numbers represent the yield strength and tensile strength values. For example, Zg 200 to 400 represents cast steel. The minimum yield strength is 200 MPa, minimum tensile strength 400 MPa. Structural steel for hull refers to the steel produced in accordance with the requirements of the construction rules of classification societies and used to manufacture the hull structure. It is often ordered, scheduled and sold as special steel, generally including ship plate, section steel, etc. According to the standard of China Classification Society, the structural steel for ship hull is divided into general strength, high strength and ultra-high strength structural steel for ships and marine engineering according to its minimum yield strength grade. First, let's look at general strength ship and marine engineering structural steel. This kind of steel is divided into 4 quality grades A, B, D, and E. The yield strength and tensile strength of these 4 grades of steel are the same, but the impact toughness requirements at different temperatures are not required. The requirements for grades A, B, D, and E are impact test performance at plus 20 degrees Celsius, 0 degrees Celsius, minus 20 degrees Celsius, and minus 40 degrees Celsius, respectively. As shown in the figure, the chemical composition and mechanical properties of general strength hull structural steel are roughly equivalent to those of Q235 steel. The high-strength hull structural steel specified by the China Classification Society is divided into 3 grades and 4 quality grades according to the yield strength. With high mechanical properties, the toughness at minus 40 degrees Celsius is not lower than 50% of normal temperature, preventing fracture accidents and brittle fracture at low temperature, and can meet the requirements of the ship's unlimited navigation area. As a steel for hull structure, it should also have excellent processing and welding properties. Available in profiles or sheets of various specifications. Steel for ultra-high strength ships and marine structures is divided into 6 strength grades: 420 megapascals, 460 megapascals, 500 megapascals, 550 megapascals, 620 megapascals and 690 megapascals according to their minimum yield strength. In each strength grade, it is divided into 4 grades A, D, E, and F according to the different toughness, all of which are killed steels with refined grains. It should be delivered in the quenched and tempered state. Steel with special properties refers to steel with special physical and chemical properties, which is used to manufacture parts and components that require special properties in addition to certain mechanical properties, including stainless steel, low-temperature steel and clad steel plate. Stainless steel includes stainless steel and acid-resistant steel. Steel that can resist atmospheric corrosion is called stainless steel, and steel that can resist corrosion in some chemical media such as acid, alkali, and salt is called acid-resistant steel. But it is customary to refer to these two kinds of steel together as stainless steel. First we look at austenitic stainless steels. When the steel contains 17 to 19% chromium and 8 to 11% nickel, a stable austenitic structure can be obtained. This is austenitic stainless steel, often called 18-8 type stainless steel, which is currently the most widely used one kind of stainless steel. It is to heat the steel to 1100 and then water cool it, so that the carbides are dissolved in the austenite obtained at high temperature, and then through rapid cooling. The single-phase austenite structure is obtained at room temperature. Austenitic stainless steel not only has good corrosion resistance, but also has good cold and hot workability and weldability. Is widely used in the manufacture of certain equipment and pipelines that require corrosion resistance in ships. Austenitic ferritic duplex stainless steel. It means that the ferrite phase and the austenite phase account for half in its structure. Generally, the minimum phase content should reach 30%. In the case of low carbon content, the chromium content is 18% to 28%. The nickel content is 3% to 10%. In terms of corrosion resistance, especially in the harsh medium environment, such as seawater, the corrosion resistance of duplex stainless steel is significantly better than that of ordinary austenitic stainless steel. Therefore, duplex stainless steel is widely used in petrochemical equipment, seawater and wastewater treatment equipment, oil and gas pipelines and other industrial fields. And the operating temperature of the components is between 0 to 300 degrees Celsius. Liquid nitrogen, liquefied natural gas, and liquefied petroleum gas are widely used in the low-temperature steel industry. In order to store and transport these liquefied gases, a large number of low-temperature pressure vessels, pipelines and transportation ships are required. Usually, the steel used at the low temperature of -20 to -196 is called low-temperature steel. And the steel used at the low temperature below -196 is called cryogenic steel or ultra-low temperature steel. Divided into ferritic low-temperature steel, austenitic low-temperature steel. Clad steel plate refers to a plate composed of a base material and a thin layer integrally bonded on one or both sides. The base material of the clad steel plate is usually ordinary carbon steel or carbon manganese steel plate, and the clad layer includes stainless steel, titanium alloy, copper alloy, aluminum alloy and resin. They endow steel sheets with new properties and functions and are a class of economical steels. Good. This class is about marine steel. Thank you for watching. Bye.